I took my nephew in after his mom went to jail. I fed him, bought him clothes, gave him a future. He robbed my store on Christmas Eve. When I caught him on camera, he said, "You're not my real dad. You were just convenient." I called the police, but before they came, I did something that changed everything. I never planned to raise anyone. My wife, Lori, and I wanted kids once. We used to talk about names and what color to paint the room. Then she got sick. 3 months after diagnosis, she was gone. Just like that. I was 38, running a small hardware store in White House, Tennessee, and trying to figure out how to breathe again. Years passed. I got used to being alone. Not happy, but used to it. Then my sister Dina got arrested. Not her first time. She'd been using off and on for years, but she always managed to scrape by. This time, she was caught with enough meth to get serious time. 8 years in prison. She had one kid, Marcus. He was 16 when they took her away. No dad in the picture. Just me. Everyone else in the family was gone or useless. The state was going to put him in a group home. I couldn't let that happen. I told the court I'd take him. Signed the papers. Drove out to get him that same day. He didn't say much during the ride back to my place. Just looked out the window and kept his earbuds in. When I brought him home, I gave him the spare room. Got him new clothes, shoes, a winter coat. Enrolled him at the high school 2 miles from the store. I let him work part-time at the hardware shop, sweeping floors, unloading stock, helping customers. Paid him cash under the table at first. It wasn't much, but he had his own money. He didn't say thank you. Not once. But I didn't expect much. He was angry. I got that. His mom was gone. His life had been a mess for years. I figured if I gave him structure, time, maybe he'd come around. At first, I saw some hope. He stopped skipping school. He got his learner's permit. He started asking to work more hours. I even got him a used Honda Civic for his 17th birthday. Paid cash. Told him it was his as long as he kept working and stayed out of trouble. Things weren't perfect. He was quiet, moody. Spent too much time texting people I didn't know. But he wasn't getting high. He wasn't getting arrested. I thought I was helping him turn a corner. Then Christmas Eve happened. I was closing up shop around 6 p.m. We'd been slammed that week. Folks doing last-minute gift shopping, grabbing tools, shovels, heaters. The register was stuffed. I usually lock the big holiday cash bag in the office safe until I can deposit it after New Year's. Marcus said he'd stay late and finish stocking the shelves. I gave him the keys and told him to lock up. He didn't say much, just nodded and went back to stacking snow shovels. I drove home through the snow, made a pot of chili, poured myself a glass of bourbon, and turned on some old holiday movie I've seen 100 times. I was finally starting to relax. Then I got a ping from the security app on my phone. Motion detected. I figured Marcus forgot to disable the alarm. It happens. I opened the app. What I saw made my blood run cold. There he was. In the store. Wearing a ski mask like that would somehow hide him from me. Same jacket. Same walk. Same damn kid I'd raised for the past 2 years. He smashed the lock on the register with a crowbar. Cleaned it out. Then went straight to the office, opened the drawer where I kept the safe keys and took the whole stash. Almost $8,000 in cash. He didn't even hesitate. I watched the footage 3 times, hoping I was wrong. But it was him. I called his cell. Straight to voicemail. 5 minutes later, the front door of my house opened. He walked in like nothing happened. Set his coat on the hook. Took off his boots. I just stood there in the kitchen, phone in my hand, shaking. "Marcus," I said, "you stole from me." He looked at me with this dead-eyed calm, like I'd asked him what time it was. "Caught me on camera, huh?" he said. "Why would you do this?" I asked. "After everything I've done for you?" That's when he shrugged. Actually shrugged. Then he said, "You're not my real dad. You were just convenient." Those words hit me like a truck. I stared at him. I didn't even know what to say. I walked over to the counter and picked up the phone. "I'm calling the police," I said. "You robbed me." He didn't even flinch. "Do what you gotta do," he said. "I'm done here anyway," I called. But before they arrived, I did something I never thought I'd do. I looked at Marcus as the dispatcher asked for my address. I gave it. Calm voice. Just the facts. Then I set the phone down on the counter. He was still standing there like nothing mattered. Like he hadn't just stabbed me in the back. I walked over to the coat closet, opened it, and pulled out the small fireproof box I kept tucked behind some old boots. I opened it, pulled out the envelope inside, and tossed it on the table. He looked at it, confused. "Open it," I said. He did. Inside was a letter, handwritten by me 2 months earlier, and a stack of documents. His face started to shift as he read. It was an agreement I'd drawn up with my lawyer. An early inheritance plan. I had been setting things up to transfer the store to him. Slowly, over time. It wasn't official yet, but the intent was clear. My signature. My lawyer's notes. Everything. I was going to give it to you on New Year's, I said. I've been paying off debts. Getting the store in your name was the plan. You were going to have everything I built. His hands started shaking. I saw it. He tried to play it cool, but he was rattled. You serious? He mumbled. You think I fed you, clothed you, paid for school, taught you how to run the store, just for fun? I said. I saw something in you. Even when no one else did. He looked down. Then he tried to change the subject. I needed the money. For what? He didn't answer. So I walked to the door, pulled out his coat, reached into the inside pocket, and pulled out a wad of cash. My cash. Still warm. I dropped it on the table. You didn't even have time to hide it, I said. You were that sure I wouldn't do anything. He didn't deny it. Then I saw something in his eyes I hadn't seen before. Not guilt. Not fear. Smugness. You think this changes anything? He said. You can't fix what you never had with some cash and papers. You're not my dad. I nodded slowly. Then I walked over to the mantel, opened the drawer, and pulled out the spare house key and car key I'd given him. I set them on the table. You're not my son either. He flinched. Then I went outside to wait for the cops. The snow was falling heavy by then. I could see the red and blue lights in the distance. Inside, he didn't come after me. Didn't say a word. They took him in without a fight. I gave them the footage. The cash. The whole story. But here's the part one haven't told anyone. Before the cops got there, while he was upstairs grabbing his phone or maybe just trying to think of a way out, I copied the footage to a USB. Then I drove down to where I knew some of his new friends hung out at the gas station on Holt and Main. I found the loudest one, a guy named Chris who always acted like he owned the street, and handed him the USB. What's this? He asked. Insurance, I said. Watch it. Then ask yourself if Marcus is really the kind of guy you want in your crew. Then I left. Because I wanted them to know he wore a mask to rob his own family. That he stole from the only person who gave a damn about him. That when it came down to it, he had no loyalty. I knew what those guys did to snitches and traitors. I didn't care. A week passed. Marcus was still in county lockup. They held him without bail because of the amount he stole and the fact that he used force to break in. His public defender tried to spin it as a misunderstanding. Said he was desperate. The judge didn't buy it. Meanwhile, I kept the store open. People in town heard something went down, but I didn't talk. Just said there'd been a break-in. I didn't name names. Then one night, 2 guys came into the store around closing. Hoodies, gold chains, sneakers too clean for work boots. I knew their type. One was Chris. The same Chris I gave the USB to. Where's Marcus? He asked. Jail, I said. They looked around the store, nodded to each other. Thought he was smarter than that, the other one said. I didn't answer. Then Chris leaned on the counter. He told us you planted it all. Said you were jealous. Said you didn't want him taking over. I stared him down. Do I look like someone who lies? I said. He shrugged. Don't know you. Just saying it's a bold move. Playing us like that. That's when I knew Marcus had started talking behind my back. Blaming me. Lying to cover his own ass. Trying to turn people against me. But it didn't stop there. The next morning, I found my truck keyed all down the driver's side. Rat scratched into the paint. 2 days after that, the back window of the store was busted in. Nothing stolen, just broken glass and footprints. I went to the cops. They said they'd look into it. But this is a small town. They don't move fast unless someone gets shot. So I took matters into my own hands. I pulled out every old security cam from the shop and set them up outside. Back alley, parking lot, even one disguised as a bird feeder near the mailbox. Then I started digging into Chris and his crew. Pulled receipts from Marcus's time at the store. Looked at what went missing. Caught some old footage of Marcus giving free stuff to Chris. Bags of screws, power tools, even a propane heater. He'd been stealing long before Christmas Eve. I packaged it all up and emailed it anonymously to the landlord of the strip mall where Chris's cousin ran a vape shop. Zoning violations, tax evasion, fake product codes. Next thing I knew, the vape shop got raided. 2 weeks later, it was shut down. I kept going. Found out Chris was on probation for assault. Sent the footage of him threatening me in my store to his parole officer. Quietly. Just a flash drive in a manila envelope, no return address. 3 days later, I heard Chris got picked up again. One by one, Marcus's little support system crumbled. And just when I thought things couldn't get worse, they did. One cold morning in February, I got a letter in the mail. Return address, Davidson County Correctional Facility. Inside was a single sheet of notebook paper. Marcus had written to me. "You ruined everything," it said. "I'll never forgive you. You think you're safe because you're smart. But smart people slip up too. You think this is over? It's not." He signed it, convenient. Not Nephew. Not Marcus. Just that word. Convenient. That's when I knew he was planning something. I kept that letter. Read it twice. Then once more before burning it in the sink. I wasn't scared. Not yet. But I wasn't stupid either. Marcus had always been quiet, calculating. He didn't lash out like some hothead. He waited. He picked his time. And now he had nothing to lose. He was still in jail, but jail isn't what it used to be. They got phones. They got people. They can reach you if they want to. 2 weeks later, my store's supplier called to tell me someone canceled my next 3 orders. Said the account had been closed. I never closed it. I checked my email. Someone had used my name and store ID to send a cancellation notice. It didn't take much to guess who. Marcus still had access to a few things. He knew how the accounts worked. He used to help with the invoices. He must have had some old passwords. Or maybe someone from his crew helped him. That same day, a customer came in and said someone had told them I was selling stolen goods. That was the final straw. I drove straight to the jail and asked to speak to him. They let me in, visitor room, thick glass between us. He walked in wearing orange, like he didn't have a care in the world. I picked up the phone. He did the same. "You still think this is a game?" I asked. He smiled. "I never stopped playing. You sent that letter. You shut down my supplier." He leaned back in the chair. "You made your move first," he said. "Now I'm just returning the favor." I looked at him. This wasn't a dumb kid anymore. This was someone mean, cold. "I gave you everything," I said. "You gave me a cage," he snapped. "You think your love was enough? You used me. Wanted me to be your fake son so you could play dad again. You robbed me. And you handed me to the cops like trash," he said. We stared at each other in silence. Then he leaned in close and said one last thing. "See, the thing about family? They know where to hit you." He hung up the phone and walked away before I could say another word. I sat there a minute, breathing hard. My hand shook when I finally set the phone down. That night, I checked every lock, every camera, every damn window in the house. Because I knew what was coming. He still had friends. And he had time. I didn't sleep much after that visit. Every sound at night made me tense up. The heater kicking on. A branch tapping the window. Once, a raccoon knocked over the trash bin out back and I damn near grabbed my shotgun. I kept the store open during the day, but it was getting harder. Supplies delayed. Rumors spreading. A few regulars asked if I was okay. I just smiled and said business was slow. I didn't want pity. I wanted revenge. That's when I found out Marcus was trying to get transferred. His lawyer filed a motion to move him to a juvenile facility, arguing he was only 17 when the crime happened, even though he turned 18 just weeks later. That would drop the felony and cut his sentence in half. I wasn't going to let that happen. I drove out to Nashville, sat down with the prosecutor, and laid it all out. Every stolen item. Every piece of video. The vandalism. The threats. The letter. I even showed him the hacked supplier emails and a copy of the complaint about me selling stolen goods. The prosecutor nodded slowly, took notes, and said he's digging his own grave. They denied the transfer. Marcus stayed in county. That should have been a win. But it wasn't over. About a month later, I came home one evening to find my back door kicked in. The kitchen was torn up. Dishes smashed. Fridge open. Papers scattered across the floor. My TV was gone. My laptop. My safe with the old documents. And taped to the wall, in bold black marker, was one word, convenient. I called the police, of course. They came. Took prints. Said it looked like someone who knew the place. You don't say. I knew who did it. Not Marcus. but someone sent by him. And now it was personal. I still had the files from Marcus's phone when he worked with me. He never wiped anything. I started digging through the data. Messages, photos, notes. It took days, but finally I hit something useful. There was a photo of Marcus sitting on the hood of a beat-up white Impala with two guys. One had a spiderweb tattoo across his neck. The other had gold teeth. I remembered them. They'd come into the store a few times. They were part of Chris's old circle. I knew someone who'd know them. Wayne, a retired cop who bought all his fishing gear from me. I showed him the photo. Wayne squinted, then laughed. Yeah, those punks? I know M. The guy with the neck tat? That's Trayson. Lives out by the river trailers. Been in and out of jail since he was 15. Think he'd talk? Wayne gave me a long look. What are you planning? Nothing illegal, I said. He didn't look convinced. But he gave me the address anyway. And that's when things really started to change. Because I didn't go out there to fight. I went out there with something Trayson needed more than loyalty. Money. Trayson's trailer was exactly what you'd expect. Broken porch light, old couch outside, dogs barking behind a chain-link fence. I parked a block down and walked the rest of the way. He answered the door shirtless, eyes red, a lit joint between his fingers. What the hell you want? He said. I know Marcus sent you, I said. And I know you were in my house. His eyes narrowed. You got a death wish, old man? I held up a small envelope. I've got $500 cash and I'll give it to you right now just to listen for 5 minutes. He looked at the envelope, then back at me. You got 1 minute. I handed him the envelope. Marcus is playing you, I said. He's got nothing left, so he's using people. You think he cares about you? About Chris? He's setting you all up. You break in, you go down. He walks. Trayson looked unsure, like maybe he didn't want to believe it, so I pulled out my phone, showed him the messages Marcus sent to Chris and another guy. In one, Marcus said, "Let Trayson take the fall if it goes bad. He's dumb enough." Trayson read it, read it again. Then he laughed. Cold, bitter laugh. "Little bastard," he said. He said we were brothers. He handed me back the envelope. "You keep it," I said. "Just stay out of my life." But it wasn't over yet. 3 days later, Marcus got jumped in county. Real bad. Broken nose, cracked ribs, bruises all over. They moved him to isolation for his own protection. The guy who did it? Trayson's cousin. I didn't ask for that to happen, but I didn't lose sleep over it either. Then the prosecutor called. "We got new statements," he said. "Your nephew's looking at extra charges now. Conspiracy. Threats. Possible parole violation even before he gets sentenced." I thanked him, hung up, and sat in silence for a while. It was over. Or so I thought. One night in late March, I got a call. It was the warden. Marcus had tried to hang himself with a bedsheet in his cell. Didn't die. But he ended up in the hospital. On suicide watch. And just like that, all the anger I carried turned to something else. Regret. Not for what I did, but for letting it get this far. For not seeing the signs earlier. For not realizing that Marcus had never really trusted anyone. Not even me. I went to see him. He was pale. Quiet. Tubes in his arms. Strapped to the bed. He looked at me like he didn't even recognize who I was. "Why'd you come?" he whispered. I didn't have a good answer. Maybe part of me still hoped there was something left to save. "You were never just convenient," I said. "You were family. You just never believed it." He looked away. They moved him to a psychiatric unit 2 weeks later. He'll serve time, but it'll be in a facility for people like him. Not hardened criminals. People who need help. The store survived. Barely. I rebuilt what he tried to tear down. But some nights, when the snow falls just right, I think about what could have been. If I'd just reached him sooner. If he hadn't hated me so much for trying. Or maybe, if I hadn't wanted a son so badly, I'd have seen who he really was. The truth? We both made mistakes. But only one of us tried to fix them. And only one of us will get another chance.